All right. So, um, thank you all for being here. And as far as the props go today, the strap is only if you have trouble reaching your foot in the quad stretch. You might want it for that. And I will be using the blocks today, but you don't have to have them. It just makes it easier if you're tight in your hips or your back. And the blanket today will be mostly for padding the knees. And given the conversation we had prior to class, we are going to be working on foot and ankle mobility and strength, and trying to relate it to, or definitely relating it to the catch position and the forceful movement that you need from the lower body. So we are going to start on our backs. And forgive me if I start to lose my voice. I'm on day 4 of a head cold. It's better, but hopefully you'll be able to hear me and understand. So whatever position feels comfortable for the lower body, legs bent or straight, maybe even legs elevated here, if that's a good place for you to start. Taking a moment, coming into the breath. So for the most part, the breathing we do throughout the day is automatic, meaning we don't have to think about it. We don't have to be intentional about it. Our body knows how to breathe. And in a way, the yoga practice, we sort of override that automatic part of the nervous system that breathes for us, because we're going to be more intentional with the breath. So I'd like you to start to lengthen your breath and slow it down. It's not big, deep breaths, and it's not super duper slow. Just slow it down a little bit. Breathing through the nose, that slowed down breath. You might be able to hear the breath as it passes over the back of your throat. Giving you a sensory part of the breath to stay focused on. This is the breath we're going to use throughout the practice, even as we start to move, or perhaps especially as we start to move. Take the next few breaths to set an intention for your practice today, thinking of the reason that you've shown up, that you've carved this time out of your day to practice yoga, this mindfulness practice. Is it about taking care of your body? Is it about listening to your body? Is it about prevention of injury? And perhaps if none of that speaks to you, you could always dedicate your practice to someone else who might need your positive thoughts, your energy. So bringing this thought or person to the front of your mind, breathe with intention. So we'll start to move here from the back. We're going to reach our feet up towards the ceiling and the hands up towards the ceiling. Note that I don't have my knees all the way straight, so this doesn't have to be like a big hamstring stretch. And I'd like you to start to circle both wrists and both ankles. And just making these circles big. And make sure the movement's just coming from the wrists and the ankles, not the shoulders, not the hips. And circle in the other direction. You might be a few pops here. You might feel some stretching. You might be some limitation. It's okay, we're just warming up here. And then bring it back into center and just shake out your legs and your arms. And then we'll lower the feet and the arms back down to the ground. Pull one leg in towards you, interlacing the fingers behind the calf. I'm sorry, behind the thigh. And let the elbows be straight. So instead of hugging the thigh in towards you, let it be away from you a little bit. That knee is bent and relaxed to start. As you inhale, begin to straighten that knee and pull the top of the foot towards you. And then as you exhale, let the knee bend and relax the foot. We'll do that again. Inhale, start to straighten the knee, pull the foot towards you. Exhale, release. So note that I'm not straightening my knee all the way. And what I'm going for here, the sensation is this pull or tug that goes down the back of the leg to the calf, maybe into the foot or the heel here. A couple more. This is actually a sciatic nerve glide. So sciatic nerve is the largest single nerve in your body. Runs from the buttocks down the back of the leg and innervates all the way to the foot. We'll lower that foot down and do the other side. So interlace fingers in the back of the thigh, elbow straight, knee bent. Inhale, start to straighten that knee, pull the foot back towards you. Exhale, let the knee bend and relax the foot. Just a few more here. So this is not aggressive because it's a nerve glide or nerve flossing technique. Being more subtle and gentle is actually better. Nerves don't really like to be stretched, or they don't like to be stretched at all. In fact, it's a way you can injure the nerve. So we're being gentle here on purpose. Lowering both feet down to the floor. Maybe just gently rock the knees side to side, a little windshield wiper movement. And because it's always good, we're going to add a little core in. This is our dead bug, and I'm going to kind of layer on here. So start simple and then add more challenge. You can choose if you'd like more challenge. So we bring our feet and our arms up again. This time the knees are bent, shins are roughly parallel to the floor. Press the back of the ribs and the back of the pelvis, back of the hips into the floor. You're going to feel your abdominal muscles, your waist muscles engaged. Keep this the whole time. We're going to do just feet first. So we inhale, lower one foot, tap it on the ground. Exhale, pull it back up to the starting position. Other side, inhale, lower that foot, tap it. Exhale, back up to the start. So keeping the back ribs, the back of the pelvis pressed into the ground. You could stay with just the legs, or as you lower the foot, the opposite arm is going to lower overhead. Exhale, coming back up. So you're alternating sides, and it's opposite arm and leg moving. So adding the arm is going to add more challenge. If you want even more challenge, you would straighten that leg that you're lowering and bend it to pull back in. That longer lever arm, making your core have to work harder to keep the back of the pelvis and the back of the ribs pressed into the floor. We're going to do a couple more. And then we'll pull both knees in, gently hugging in, rocking a little side to side. So that, the dead bug, and what we'll do later on the hands and knees, really working the transverse abdominis muscles. These are the ones that are designed to stabilize the spine and the pelvis. So really, most important when you're injured in your back or your hip, or to prevent that injury. Taking your time, we'll roll on over, come on up to hands and knees. We'll be on our knees for the next several poses. You might choose to use a blanket or something else here to pad the knees. And we are starting in tabletop pose, where you have the knees under the hips, wrist under shoulders. Remember the options here with the hands. Some of you might have some tight forearm muscles or limited range of motion in the wrists. It could be loose fist instead of flat hands. It could be forearms on the floor or blocks. We're going to stretch one leg back, cross it over to the opposite side, tap the foot down, or actually touch down, toes tucked under, and then look towards that foot. So I'm peeking around the shoulder here to see the foot. Bring the knee back down. And the other side, we inhale, stretch it across, peek around the shoulder to see the foot, and then exhale, bring the knee back down. Alternating sides, and as you peek around, maybe press through the heel, adding a little calf stretch in. Make sure you have the toes tucked under so the foot doesn't slide, but you also get a little movement in those toe joints. Having more ankle range of motion, the ability to push that heel back, is going to allow you to come into a tighter position in the catch, which allows for a little bit more force generation. If you have limitation in the ankle, you can borrow some movement from the toes to also get into that tighter balled up position in the catch. So we'll also be working on toe mobility. We'll bring the knees back down here. A little cat and cow, warming up the spine. Exhale, rounding through the back. Tuck the chin, tuck the tailbone under. Inhale, lift the tailbone, pull the chest forward. Exhale, round the back, push the floor away. Feel those shoulder blades move apart. Inhale, arching the back downward, shoulder blades move towards each other. And back and forth here a few times. Now you could stay with this, meaning staying right here centered, or add a little forward backward weight shift with these cat and cows. So that would be as you round the back, exhale, shifting forward, arch the back downward, shifting backward. So I'm kind of moving just a few inches out of center forward and backward with this one. And if you've got the shift forward or backward shift opposite of me, it's okay. I think it could make sense either way. We'll bring this back into that center tabletop position here. And now we're working on that core, hip, and shoulder stability again. So you're firming the belly. Make a solid wall of your abs. These again are those transverse abdominis muscles. Now lengthen the spine, tailbone reaching towards the back wall, top of the head towards the front wall. We'll reach our right leg back, toes point straight down, trying to keep the hips really level. You could stay with just the leg, being really focused on the steadiness here. Or bring the opposite arm, that left arm, out to the side. So a little different here, airplane position. Firm the shoulder blade on the back ribs and think length here again. Press out through the heel, press out through the top of the head. Take a couple more breaths. And then we lower the hand and lower the knee. Maybe take a few cat-cows, a wag of the tail, or shake out the wrist here. We'll do this on the other side. So set it up, firm the belly, long spine, left leg back, toes point down. You could stay with just the leg or right arm out to the side here. Firm that shoulder blade on the back ribs. Lengthen out, press out through the heel, reach out to the top of the head. Breathe. That lengthened breath. Working on steadiness. Lower the hand and lower that knee back down. Find yourself in a child's or puppy pose. So hips over heels, forehead down, that's child's. Hips over knees, forehead down is puppy. Take a few breaths here. Remembering that child's pose works for a lot of us for a resting position or release position. But if you have osteoporosis or herniated disc in the spine, or maybe it's hip or knee issues, then puppy is safer, less likely to injure you. Take a couple more breaths. Remember, you could rest at any time during the practice. You can modify, you can adapt any of these movements to make it work for you. Nothing should be painful or uncomfortable. So those are signals, those are signs to look for to cue you to change this practice. You could stay here longer or coming back up to your hands and knees. Stretching one foot back. This is our toe rocking movement. I probably have done this in every class for yoga for rowers. So inhale, shift forward, bend through the toe joints. Exhale, press the heel back. We'll do this a few times, and you might notice that you're a little stiff here to start. Maybe it warms up a little bit. Maybe you get a little bit more movement after 4 or 5 repetitions. This is a very gentle way of working on that ankle range of motion and the toe range of motion. You have lots of control over how much movement, how much stretch you feel here. We'll lower that knee, switching sides, same thing. You might notice a different side to side. So for me, my left calf is a little tighter, but my right big toe is a little stiffer. And so I have to be a little bit more mindful in different parts of this movement to not cause pain or to not force past a natural range of motion that I have. We'll lower that knee back down. We're getting ready to come into a down dog. This is a great calf stretch, ankle, toe mobility exercise, but it can also be very challenging. You could keep the toe rocking, or you could come into this extended arm puppy pose as an alternative. Down dog, hands a little forward of shoulders, fingers spread, lift the hips. Now you want to prioritize this long spine. So if you feel your back rounding or the weight shifting into your hands, bend the knees a little bit, shift those sitting bones up and back. Let the head relax between the arms. Now here's that ankle toe mobility. You could pedal the feet, meaning push one heel towards the floor as you bend the other knee. You could rise up on the tiptoes and release your heels down. You could play with this. You could see what of these feels good, what feels like it gets you more openness in the soles of the feet, the backs of the calves. And then eventually settle in that down dog. Looking forward, we're stepping this left foot between the hands. And it may not get here on the first go round. You could lower that right knee, left hand helping this foot come forward. I'm going to put a block under my right hand. This is just going to create a little bit more space here for my belly, my thigh, my back. Left hand to that left knee. And we're doing a little push twist. So I'm pushing the hand into the knee and opening that chest and gaze to the left side, and then release it. So inhale, pushing into the hand, chest gaze to the left, exhale, release. You could stay with that back knee down or lift it up and do that same thing. I'm going to pause in the twist this time. You could stay hand on the knee or reach this arm up. Maybe circle that lifted wrist, circling it both directions. Lower that hand down to the floor. Both hands down to the floor, stepping this back into a plank pose. Lower both knees, your core stays tight, and exhale, lower down to the ground. Pull the shoulder blades towards the spine and the back waist to lift the head and chest. The feet are pointed this time. This is low cobra. You could stay with that, or you could press higher, depending on how this feels in your body. Tuck the toes. We're going to make our way to down dog, maybe directly there, or go through hands and knees and then into the down dog. Take a few more breaths and a few more rounds of pedaling the feet or up on toes. Release the heels. Settle in that down dog again. Looking forward, it'll be the right foot between the hands. You may need to help it get there. Lowering the back knee to start, or you could go into that lifted back knee right away. I'm going to place that block under my left hand. Just a little bit more space. It gives me actually more twist, which feels good. Right hand to the knee. Inhale, pushing the hand into the knee. Open the chest. Gaze to the right. Exhale, release it. I'm going to do 3 more. You could stay with the back knee down, or lift that back knee. Pause in that twist. Hand could stay on the knee or right arm up. Make sure you're not sunk into the shoulders. Maybe you circle that lifted wrist, circling both directions. We'll lower that hand down. Maybe both blocks are there to meet you, making it easier to step the back foot to the front foot to find a forward fold. So a few options here: ragdoll, upper body draped over lower body with that bend to the knees. That one works for a lot of us, but if you're really tight in the hamstrings or you are dealing with osteoporosis or herniated disc or a history of one, try this version. Feet wide, butt back, forearms on your thighs, spine stays long instead of rounding over. And at either of these poses, I'd like you to try the subtle weight shift forward back. So weight into your heels and then weight into the balls of your feet. If you're in the ragdoll and you have your hands on the floor, maybe come up on fingertips or hands on the blocks. And either pose, see if you can lift your heels and then lift your toes. So it's that same shift forward and back, but a more dramatic lift. You're actually lifting part of the foot up off the floor. We'll do one more with those shifting. And then both feet flat here. Bend the knees, look forward, and strong legs. Inhale, rise up to stand, reaching up. And then exhale, hands to prayer at your heart. Let this go, shake out your wrists, roll the shoulders. So we're going to do some sun salutations. Sun salutations are really just a sequence of yoga poses. We move with the breath. If it feels like it's moving too fast for you, feel free to slow it down, go your own pace. But I am going to pause in the lunge positions, and we're going to do a little toe rocking movement, similar to what we did from hands and knees. Here, it is really helpful to have the blocks on either side to create a little bit more space. But if you don't have it, you'll be up on fingertips. Starting here at the front of your mat. Inhale, get taller, reach up. On the exhale, find your forward fold. So it could be the forearms to the thighs or the hands for the floor. Inhale, press your arms into the legs, reaching the top of the head for it. Create space between the vertebrae. Exhale, bring your hands down to the blocks or fingertips on the floor. Step your right foot back. So we're going to take a moment here. We inhale, lower the hips, pull the chest forward, shoulders away from the ears. I'm going to pause here and do that little toe rocking movement. So you inhale, shift forward, bend through the toe joints. Exhale, press the heel back. I'm going to do that 3 more times. Note that my hips are staying basically in the same level. So I'm not lifting and lowering my hips. I'm just shifting forward and back based on what my ankle and toes are doing. Next time I shift back, pause. I'm going to step it back into a down dog, moving those blocks out of the way for now. You could stay here skipping the flow through part or allowing your knees to skip it. Flowing through is inhale to plank, knees down or up, exhale, lower to the ground. Find your cobra. Could be low or high, shoulders back and down, lift the head, chest, low cobra, or pressing it higher. Tuck your toes. Use your abs to push your hips up and back. Downward facing dog. Take a breath. Long spine, even if that means bending the knees a little. Inhale, right leg up. Exhale, step this foot between the hands, helping it get there. You may need a little help. Here we are with those blocks, so you're up on your fingertips. Inhale, lower hips, chest forward. That little toe rock. So we exhale, shift the heel back. Inhale, shift forward, bending through the toes. 3 more. You're in charge of how big this movement is. And depending on the stiffness in the toes, the tightness in the calves, it might be smaller, might be bigger. On your next exhale, step the back foot to the front foot. Bend the knees, strong legs. Inhale, rise up, reach up. And exhale, hands to prayer. We're going to let that go. Shake it out, roll the shoulders. And then do that again. Left leg stepping back and forward. Inhale, get taller, reach up. Exhale, find your forward fold, hands to the floor or forearms on the thighs. Inhale, press your arms into the legs, reach the top of the head forward. Exhale, the hands down, left foot back. Inhale, pulling that chest forward, long through the neck, and try that little toe rocking here. Calf rocking. Next time you shift your heel back, we're going to plant the hands and step it back into a down dog. You could stay skipping the flow through part. Here, maybe this down dog feels great, or you lower your knees, skipping all of it. Inhaling to plank. Here's our flow through. Knees down or up. Exhale, lower to the ground. Point the feet here. Shoulders back and down. Lift head, chest, low cobra, or press higher. Tuck your toes or engage your lower abdominal muscles to power the hips up and back into the down dog. Take a breath. Inhale, left leg up. Lift that right heel. It's going to help you step the left foot between the hands, helping you get there. Up on fingertips or find those yoga blocks. Here's our toe rocking. Inhale, shifting forward, bending toes. Exhale, press the heel back. A few more. Next time you shift forward, step the back foot to the front foot. Bend the knees, strong legs. Inhale, rise up to stand, reaching up. And exhale, hands to prayer. Let it go. Shake it out. So we're going to do some standing poses. And a lot of these standing poses really have a lot to do with what's happening at the feet, the ankles, the lower legs. Even though we might be feeling it more in our quads and our hips, we'll focus in on the feet here. So starting at the front of your mat, take a big to medium step back with the left foot. We're going to pivot that left heel down. So my toes are pointing out towards that left side. My right foot, toes point towards the front of the mat. Front knee bent, tailbone down, top of the head is reaching up. I'm going to leave my arms down for now so my neck can feel really long. Glance down at your toes, and I'd like you to lift all 10 toes and place them down, spread out. You're pressing like the pads of your toes into the floor. Feel that lift in the arch. See if you can get a little taller without straightening that front knee. You could stay with the arms down or reach your arms forward and back in that warrior two. Shoulders away from the ears, gazing over that front hand. Take a few breaths. So just engaging those toes like we have them here, we start to strengthen some of the muscles in the arches of the feet. When those muscles are stronger, your calf muscles don't have to work so hard. And then you might have a little bit more mobility in the ankles. We're going to keep that front leg bent, flip the front palm up, back hand to the back thigh, reach this arm straight up towards the ceiling. We're here in this reverse warrior. And you could stay right here. Maybe you arch back a little bit more if that feels available. Often we're looking up towards that top hand, but see how this feels in the neck. Sometimes I like to look towards my back foot on this one. And if you notice your toes kind of scrunching up, see if you can lift and spread all 10 toes here. Placing them down, spread out. On the inhale, bring this back into that warrior two rather. Straighten the front leg, release your arms. We're going to pivot the feet so now they're parallel to each other, toes pointing toward the long left side of the mat. Hands on the hips here, get tall. Maybe you take a little back bend from behind the heart. On your exhale, start to hinge forward, but pause before the back begins to round. And you might, in fact, everyone put a slight bend in both knees. So we're going to treat this sort of like a little core work like we did in bird dog. Firm the belly, lengthen the spine, tailbone and top of the head reaching away from each other. Bring the arms out to the side like airplane arms. Hug the shoulder blades on your back ribs. Take a couple breaths right here. On your next exhale, you could fold down. Now you might want the blocks for this one to meet your hands, keeping that spine long. You could stay here. I'm going to turn this into a straddle down dog. So you could walk your hands with those blocks forward, reaching those sitting bones up and back. Let the head relax between the upper arms. You could have hands flat here if that's available. You might have to bend those knees a little bit depending on hamstring tightness. Or maybe it's ankle tightness. Hard to get those heels to the floor. We're walking the hands back to lengthen that spine. And then walk your hands to the front of the mat. So you end up in this lunge with hands on either side of the front foot. We're going to push off through those back toes and step the back foot to the front foot. Bend the knees, inhale, rise up and reach up. And exhale, hands to prayer. Let that go. I'm going to have you stay at the front of your mat. I'm switching which side is the front so my back doesn't end up to you. We're going to do that sequence or similar on the other side. Step the right foot back, coming to that warrior two. So the back heel comes down, right toes point towards the right, left foot, left toes point towards the front of the mat. Front knee bent, tailbone down, top of the head up. Relax the shoulders so the spine is really long here. See if you can do it without looking at your feet this time. Lift and spread all 10 toes. Place them down, spread out. Good. Pressing the pads of those toes into the floor. Feel how the arches are lifted up. So we're strengthening these muscles in the feet that can take some of the work off the calves. If you have tight calves, tight Achilles, this strengthening can actually loosen them up a little bit. Find that length again in the spine, reaching the arms forward and back, gazing over that front hand. Take a few breaths right here. Feel how that engagement of the feet, that lift and spread of the toes really makes a difference in this pose. Maybe you feel a little more stable. Flip the front palm up, back hand to the back thigh. We're coming into that reverse warrior. Front arm up. Maybe you arch it back a little bit. Gaze could be up at that top hand. Sometimes I like to look towards my back foot on this one. If you see those kind of monkey toes or hammer toes happening, lift and spread all 10 toes. Place them down, spread out. Keeping that front knee bent. Often we kind of drift towards the back with this one. Come back into that warrior two, straighten the front leg, pivot the feet so they're facing the right side of the mat. Release those arms. Hands on the hips. Inhale, get tall, maybe arching back a little. On your exhale, start to hinge forward from your hips. Pause before the back rounds. Tiny bend to the knees. Firm the belly. Lengthen the spine. Tailbone and top of the head reaching away from each other. Arms out, airplane. Snug those shoulder blades on the back ribs. Take a couple breaths. On your exhale, we'll lower the hands down to the floor or to those blocks. You could stay right here, spine long, or keep the spine long, walk the hands forward. Here, we're coming into the straddle down dog. Head relaxed here between the upper arms. Come back, hopefully stay in frame. So you could stay like this. So remember that forward, backward weight shift we did from forward fold. Shift the weight towards the balls of your feet and then towards your heels. Try that here. It might be a little harder to shift back towards the heels. And then maybe you try lifting your heels. Coming back, maybe lifting the toes. Lift the heels, lift the toes. We'll bring the feet flat here again. Walk the hands back in to lengthen the spine. And then the hands walk to the front of the mat. We pivot on the feet so we end up in this lunge position. And then we're launching off that back foot. So bend through the toes and step the back foot to the front foot. Bend the knees, inhale, rise up, reach up. And then exhale, hands to prayer. Let this go, shake it out. So we've been working on that ankle, the ability to come into that top of the foot and shin closer to each other, as well as that bend in the toes, so that when you come into the catch position, you can come into a tighter ball and begin to generate more force from a more coiled position there. So we're going to do a little bit with balance here. So you may choose to come off of the mat for a more solid surface, which can be helpful for balance. You can have a hand on the wall or a steady piece of furniture. We're coming into this tightrope or standing on a balance beam position. So you have one foot directly in front of the other. You might start with your hand on something and then take it away. So I'm going to put a tiny bend in both knees, focusing the gaze on a spot straight ahead. Maybe the hand comes away from the wall or hovers here. Relax the shoulders. We're going to actually do that forward and backward weight shift again. So this time, as you shift forward, the weight towards the front foot, and then as you shift back, weight towards the back foot. So we inhale, shift forward, exhale, shift back. So here, trying to keep the feet flat. If you feel your toes curling under, pause, lift and spread all 10 toes, place them down, spread out, and begin again. And if you're like Laura, easy peasy. Maybe as you shift forward, you lift your heels, and then as you shift back, maybe you lift your toes. Shift forward, you lift the heels, shift back, lift the toes, or you just keep it in that more subtle shift. All right, come back up, straighten the legs. Remember which foot is forward. Shake out the feet and switch sides. So other foot forward. I didn't cue it on the other side, but maybe take a moment, lift all 10 toes, spread them out. Place them down, spread out. A tiny bend to both knees. Focus your gaze on a spot straight ahead. You could stay here, just getting ready, getting settled. Maybe the hand hovers. Maybe this is enough. If you've had a lot of ankle sprains, if you have some tightness in your calf and your ankles, this can be really challenging. So this could be enough. Or try shifting your weight towards the front foot and then back towards the back foot. So subtle here, feet staying relatively flat. Notice if those toes kind of curled under, like your monkey or bird on a branch curling around, but here we want that flat surface, pads of the toes sinking in to the floor. Maybe you shift forward, lift the heels, and shift back. Lift the toes, maybe. Maybe that wall is really handy there. Are you breathing? Make sure you're breathing and not holding your breath. All right, step it out, shake out here. We're gonna do a quad stretch. You could make this a balance challenge, but you could also just have a hand on the wall here for your quad stretch. So we're bringing one foot behind, reaching back to find the foot or the ankle. You might need a strap for this. So you could just kind of lasso that around. And often we do this lying down. We're doing this standing here today. It's a little more practical in general when you're off the yoga mat. Think about the kneecap reaching towards the earth. So instead of the knee going out to the side or forward, that kneecap straight down. Take a few breaths. At the same time the kneecap goes down, reach the top of the head up. We're going to let this foot go and switch sides. If you're using the wall, turning around here, bring that foot behind you. Kneecap towards the earth, top of the head towards the sky. When that kneecap goes forward or out to the side, you miss out on all four of the quadriceps getting stretched, and also on some of the hip flexors getting stretched. So, I just feel like if you're going to spend the time doing this, be more efficient, get more muscles stretched, and getting that lengthening of the spine. We're going to lower that foot back down to the floor here. So we're working into some more of the kind of deeper ankle toe mobility exercises and stretches. So I'm going to do this in a squat. This may not work in your body for your knees or your back or your ankles and feet, just may not be in a good place for this. You could always come down to hands and knees and do that toe rocking movement. So I'm starting up here at the front of my mat. Actually, let's start at the back of the mat. Let's start at the back of the mat. You might need that little wall for balance here, or choose not to do this part. We're eventually going down to hands and knees and into down dog. You could go there as well before we get there. I'm going to lift my heels, balance challenge. I'm going to try to keep the heels up and lower into this deep squat. So my knees stay forward, lowering down here. So calves and hamstrings here making good contact. You may need your hands on the floor or hands up on yoga blocks. In fact, we're all going to bring your hands down to the floor of the yoga blocks and then start to shift your knees towards the floor. Your heels will rise up and then bring your thighs closer to your belly. The heels will shift towards the floor. So we inhale, knees towards the floor, exhale, heels towards the floor, and do a few more here. So now we have our weight behind this, and it could be too much. This may be too painful for you or too uncomfortable. You could always come out of this. In fact, I'm coming out of this here in a moment. So I'm going to walk my hands forward, lift the hips, finding that down dog. Head relax between the upper arms. Let's see how that down dog feels now. This may be last down dog here. Take a breath, inhale through the nose. Open your mouth, stick out your tongue. This is a lion's breath. Like hiss as you come out. Do that again. Inhale through the nose. Open the mouth, stick out your tongue. Lion's breath. Lower both knees, untuck your toes, child or puppy pose. Letting that forehead rest. Take a few breaths right here. Start to slow your breathing down. Coming back to your intention for the practice today, remembering why you've shown up. You can stay here longer, or when you're ready, moving on. We're coming onto our bellies. I'm going to use my blanket to pad my hips and pubic bones for this locust pose. This is a belly down back bend. Now, if you have some arthritis in your lower back, these belly down back bends may not feel so great. Some options would be to put a pillow under your low belly so you start from a slightly flexed position in the spine, or substitute coming on your back and doing bridge pose instead. So we're bringing the arms down by the sides. So this one's about strengthening the back of the body, but we want our core, front, back, and sides to help protect us, the spine specifically, from injury. So tailbone lengthens towards the feet. You'll feel the pubic bone press into the floor and the low belly muscles engage. Keep that. Inhale, lift the head and chest. Lift the arms and actively reach them towards your feet. Lifting the feet, optional. And you're pointing the feet, but you're pulling the toes back. So these are the Barbie toes. So imagine Barbie in her high heels. And then we're going to lower down. We'll do that again. Keep the tailbone lengthening away from the head. Inhale, lift the head, chest, arms. Lift the feet, coming into the Barbie toes. Exhale, lower. Two more. Exhale, lower. You could bring your arms forward, resting the head. Might feel good to wiggle the hips here a little bit. Maybe you bend the knees and rock the legs side to side. Lowering the feet back down to the floor. And I'm going to do something very similar here The options will be the same locust pose, but I'm going to interlace my fingers to lift, or you could use the strap behind you, so hands are more shoulder distance apart, so whatever works for your body here. Tailbone lengthens towards the feet. Maybe you interlace fingers or find the strap behind you. Roll the shoulders back and down and inhale, lift the head and chest. Reach your knuckles towards the feet. Option to lift the legs. Come in the Barbie toes, meaning ankles are pointed, feet are pointed, but the toes are pulled back. We exhale, lower. I'm going to do 3 more. Tailbone lengthens away from the head the whole time. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Release the arms, let it go, bring it forward. You might bend those knees, rock the legs side to side. And we'll lower both feet down to the floor, coming onto our backs. I'm going to come into supported bridge. I'm using the block here. Could be a foam roller or folded blanket underneath you, but lift the hips and slide the prop underneath. So make sure you're below the low back. You're not on the vertebrae of the low back, but kind of above the fleshy part of the buttocks. Once you're here, see if you can convince your buttocks and the low back muscles to relax. It might even help to just release a little bit on the exhale. You might choose to stay right here. I'm going to bring the legs up in this, so pull the knees in and reach the feet up. And again, notice I don't have my knees all the way straight. I have them bent, my thighs pulled in a little bit just so that it's not a strain to the backs of my legs. I'm going to do those Barbie toes that I talked about in locust pose. Now we get to seat our feet. So remember, Barbie is perpetually in high heel shoes. So that's what our feet are going to look like here in a moment. We're going to point the feet, keep the feet pointed, but pull the toes back. It can be a little bit challenging, so be patient with yourself. And then we do the opposite. We pull the feet back and curl the toes under. So that's like Barbie after 20 years in high heel shoes. And we point the feet, pull the toes back, pull the feet back, curl the toes under. And so we're going back and forth with these. So the toe joints are doing the opposite of what the ankle joints are doing. And again, we are starting to strengthen some of these muscles that support the arch and take some of the work off of the calf muscles, the front and back calf muscles. And we're working on our motor control, the ability for our brain to tell the feet and the toes what to do, and it actually do it. All right, relax here, shake up those legs like we did at the beginning. And then when you're ready, we're going to pull one knee in and let the other leg go out straight. So we're coming into this hip flexor stretch. That bent knee could be pulled out to the side. Sometimes that gives me just a little bit more stretch in some of these hip flexors. Take a few breaths here. When you're ready, switching sides. Tight hip flexors, as we learned in the last class, can really mess with your body. Usually it manifests in low back pain, but it could certainly be hip pain, knee pain. It can really go up and down the chain of the body. Often tight hip flexors also manifest as tight front neck muscles or forward head position as well. See that a lot in people's bodies in my physical therapy practice. We'll lower both feet down, lift the hips, and take that block out from underneath. And then from here, Cross one thigh over the other, pull the legs in towards you, hold the shins or maybe backs of thighs, or use the strap to hold here. We're looking for a sensation of stretch or openness in the buttocks, outer hip of the top leg. But if you feel more pinch on the front of the hip, you could always change this to the ankle over knee stretch instead. And if you're using your arms here to hold, relax through the neck, shoulders, and the jaw. When you're ready, switch and do that on the other side. And relax the neck, the shoulders, and the jaw. Untangle the legs. We keep the knees in, arms out. We're dropping both legs over to one side for this simple recline twist. And you might have your favorite variation of this twist, your legs crossed, your top leg straight, out to the side, or sometimes even bottom leg straight to let that top knee come down a little bit more. Gently turn the head away from your legs. Use your abs, pull the knees up through center, maybe a gentle hug in or rocking or circling. And then eventually we drop the legs to the other side, taking your variation that feels good to you. Or using any props here, head turning away from your legs. Use your abs to pull the knees back through center. Maybe gentle rocking. Maybe you come into a happy baby. Decide if there's anything you'd like to do before Shavasana, before relaxation. And because we've been working on the feet and the ankles, I'm going to offer relaxation in legs up the wall. It's one of the best restorative, well, for my body anyway, I feel like it's one of the best restorative poses when my legs are tired, when I've been working my leg muscles quite a bit, or if I've been up on my feet, traveling, being in the car, in an airplane. This feels really good afterwards. My yoga studio, I have great big expansive wall space that I can use at home. Not so much. So often to do this, I'll sit in a doorway, like I'll open the door, say like into the bathroom or the bedroom, sit right smack in the middle of the doorway, lie back and bring my feet up on either side of the door. So I end up in that kind of wide foot position. I'm going to slide my folded blanket under my hips, a little bit more elevation. And that's going to help even a little bit more if you have any kind of swelling, any kind of lactic acid in the lower body here. But you could also be in any position for your Shavasana, your relaxation that you'd like. So you don't have to be in legs up the wall. Maybe you close your eyes here, keep them open, whatever feels natural. Taking an inhale through the nose. Open the mouth and let out a sigh. You can do that again. Let the breath go, allowing your body to rest, remembering that rest is when our body heals. It's literally when cells knit back together, muscle fibers knit back together. It's when we digest our food. It's when we digest information. It's when our immune system recharges. So give yourself the next few minutes to rest. You could certainly stay here resting longer. You could even turn off your screen and rest here for several more minutes. But if you're ready to move on, start to deepen your breath. You might invite some gentle movements in the fingers, the toes, wrist, the ankles, turning the head gently. If you're on your back, maybe reach your arms overhead and inhale. Stretch and lengthen. So let it go. Bend the knees, roll to your side. Pause for a moment in this fetal position. Perhaps taking this opportunity to appreciate your body, your breath, your yoga practice. Being gentle, press up to seated position. Thank you all for being here, sharing your practice and energy. The light in me honors the light in each of you. Namaste. Thank you. Please let me know if you have any questions.